Okay guys, so in this one we are going to add models into our profile. So this is basically associating some things like an address or a job to the specific user. So it's not really their profile, but it's getting some of that data. So what we'll do is we'll do django.contrib.auth.models import user. And the first one we'll do class address models.model, and user is models.foreign-key user, and we can say like street address equals models.charfield max length equals to one, let's say 200, and then we'll do city. We can actually just copy street address a couple times. Make sure it's spaced correctly. City, state, and zip code. And we're going to change that into an integer field. And max length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just say 5. Okay, so those will be all default, and then we'll define our Unicode here, and we'll return self.user.username. Okay, so that's going to be their address, and then we can copy pretty much the same thing as like job, and instead of, we can say position equals models.charfield max length equals to, let's say, 100, and then employer equals models.charfield max length equals to 200. So then we can just change this to being employer address, and then they can kind of figure out the rest from there. And then we'll return, we'll just return the position. Okay, so that's associating any address they live at and their position. Let's add one more thing here, or a couple more things actually. Active, a Boolean field, so default equals true, so when they first do it, that's where they're going to be. And then we'll also do updated, so a time field, and this is going to be auto now equals true, auto now add equals false. Let's copy that whole thing for our timestamp. Make sure spacing is correct. Change these to false and to true. Copy those. Okay, so another thing we could add to job is like start date, and we'll do models.date field, and auto now equals false, auto now add equals false. Okay, and then end date, same thing. So let's see, maybe a phone number in here. Let's actually put active on the bottom. Okay, make sure your spacing's right. So maybe a phone number. We can do, let's just do a char field, max length, let's say 13, no, let's say 20. And we can make null equals true, blank equals true. Okay, so what else are we missing? So we have person, the position, who the employer is, the employer's address, and all that information here. So one thing we might consider is actually taking the employer information outside of the job and making it its own model, or its own class, excuse me. So if we did it as its own class, then we would have to associate each job to that employer. And for now, we're just going to leave it like this. We might have to do that in the future, but for now, let's just keep it here. And let's make sure that this is installed in our local. So we'll go in here and do profiles. Okay, and close the server and do python manage.py, sync database, and profiles worked. So we'll do python manage.py, convert to south, and we'll do profiles. Cool, so now if we ever need to make any changes, we can do that. And in our views, let's add a new view, call it all. So now we want to import our users. So we'll do from django.contrib.auth.models import user. And we will call users equals user.objects.all. Actually, not .all, .filter. And active equals true. So that way we can see all those users. And for now, we're just going to call the template all. And now we need to make that template under here. We'll go to new file, all.html, and we're going to have it extend base, or we'll extend home.html for now, and block content. So we can do for loop for user and users. And then we'll do for user.address set all. Whoops, for item and user. Okay. Item and for if for loop dot first. So if it's the first item in the for loop, then show the item. Otherwise, don't show anything. So that means we would have to make an address for that user. We'll do that shortly. We need to run our server, and we also need to set up our URL. So let's go into our URLs. You can just copy this one. It's actually change home into all, because we probably on our homepage we would want to see all, for now at least. And in all, or in home, we need to add block content. So block content and block. Okay, so back in here, all cannot resolve active, is active. Oops. So let's go back in here. That's a common error, I'd say, is can't resolve that certain keyword. So I was looking for is active, not active. I'm so used to writing active, but the default for Django is active. So back in our views, we'll change active to is active. Go back in here, refresh, and jmitchell3. I'm the only one that's an active user. So let's go into the admin. Let's add a new user. We'll call him James Bond, and 123, 123. Save it. James Bond is now a user, and he is active. Let's just, since James Bond is a fictional person, he's not real, we will change it to inactive. Save it. And now, nobody can also take that username too, which is kind of Interesting, because that username's already taken. Next, we need to do some stuff with the admin, so we will do that now. So within profiles, we'll do a new file, and we'll call it admin.py. Let's open that up, and we'll go from django.contrib import admin, and also we're going to do from .models import address and job. Okay, and we'll do class address admin, admin.model admin, and class meta model equals to address, then admin.site.register address admin. Cool. We can copy that exact same thing for job. Okay, and back into Chrome. Make sure our server is running. It is. Go to admin. Looks like it's not pulling it in. URLs. Auto discover is on. Refresh. There we go. Quick little refresh sometimes fixes everything. So jmitchell3 1 2 3 4 test. Cool. Let's save that. Let's go back in here, and it's showing our username twice. And if we remember, the reason being is because with address we return the username. So let's change that to city and refresh. jmitchell3 in Newport Beach. Cool. This is a good start for locating where somebody is.